Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with a bit of a different video for me. It's still relatable to product planning and my makeup consumption, but I wanted to go back more into like the techie and I guess geeky side of things. And I've had a lot of people mention like how they're impressed that I can keep track of all my product pans and all the eyeshadows I'm panning and things like that. So I just thought I would show you how I do that in this video, and I will also cover how I structure my spreadsheets in my Excel. So before we jump into any of that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just jump into the video. So I thought I would start with my spreadsheet first. I'll try to screen record it. I hope that it all works out, but I've never done that before on my Mac, but I think I know how to do it. I'm gonna screenshot it or like screen record it while I talk about it and go through my different spreadsheets. So I'm gonna do that first, and then afterwards I'm gonna go through what I do to keep track on all my product planning, because I do that on my phone. So I'm gonna do that after I go through my spreadsheet and show you how I organize everything. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm screen recording right now, so like I said, hope it all works out. I'm gonna pop in the video now of what my spreadsheet looks like and what I have in front of me. So as you can see here, I have my first spreadsheet, which is usually the one that I use the most, and as you can see here on the bottom I have different tabs for different things, but like I said, this is the one I use the most in combination with this one here, which is my lip and cheek and eye usage, which I'm also going to talk about a little bit, but we're going to start with my eye products. So in here I organize all of my eyeshadows. As you can see here, I have them all organized, and then in here I have some summaries of like how many pans I have, and also like what my pan percentage is and stuff like that. So that's also a little insight in how my panning has been over the years. Also, as you can see, I have all my pans tracked. So this is how I also keep track of all my pans. These right here are pans, so you can see when I hit pan on things. So if I hit pan, obviously this shadow, which is Antique Bronze, I hit pan on in 2019 and so on. So you can see when I hit pan on things, and you can also see when I got things. So things that are in here, this is when I started tracking, was in 2018, or at least I think I started tracking maybe in 2019, but I knew when I bought things or what I had already in 2018. So everything that's from 2018 and older is included in this kind of column right here, but everything that I got later, you can see right here, for example, all of these palettes I got in 2020 and so on. I have them organized like that. And also on the sides here you can see all of the grayed out shades are things that I'm working on, or that I hit pan on already. And that's just for simplicity's sake when I do my panels, eyeshadows, rotation and things like that, just so that I can see what already is in a project or that I'm already had panel, which then wouldn't be eligible for my panels eyeshadows. So this is what my spreadsheet looks like, and I have mine organized by kind of type of products, and you can see the summary of that here. So I have eyeshadows, cream eyeshadows, liners, mascaras, brow products and primers. And obviously my eyeshadows are the longest, so it's quite a long list, as you can see right here. I'm not going to go through anything in detail. I have all my palettes first, and moving to single shadows, and then I have more of my inner shadows separately, but obviously they are single shadows as well. And then if you scroll all the way down there, you have the rest. That's cream eyeshadows, eyeliners, mascaras and primers and brow products. Mascara one isn't completely up to date because I don't update that completely, because I always bring in new mascaras and I usually only have maybe one or two. So I've just kept it like this for now, and I usually just kind of change out right here which ones I have. So currently these are the two ones that I have. But for example, when I use up my lash sensational, I won't put that as like finished or decluttered. I will just replace the name right here, because I feel like otherwise that list would be way too long because I go through them so quickly. But when I do finish something, then I take out this box right here, and that's also the same if I declutter something, so you can see kind of here what I have used up and what I've decluttered this year. And then you move on to the other products, and I do the exact same things for other type of categories. So here we have my cheek products, we have my blushes, highlighters, bronzes and things like that, and you can see I always organize it the same way. And for all of these excess, they are automatically organized or like updated. So as you can see here, this is the kind of like organization for right here. So for example, you can see I have 2 pans in 2019, 1 pan in 2020, and right now I have 0 pans. But you can look here, if I add an X right here, you can see that this updates automatically. So now it says I have 1 pan. So that is something that it does automatically, and it's a formula that I've added in to help me kind of not have to edit that manually. So every time I remove an X or I add an X for pan, then it does automatically update the pan percentages and everything. The only thing I have to edit myself is all of the numbers here on the side, which can be quite annoying when I declutter things or use things up, but it's not the end of the world. And then we have my base products. Again, it's organized the same way, although obviously here I can't really have many pans, although you can see here I have some in my under corrector, and also you can see that that's actually not updated because I have finished up my Becca under corrector, so I'm actually gonna do that now. So I take that X away because obviously it's not a pan anymore, it's finished. I'll do this and then I'll do that. So it's now like on for my collection, but I do have a backup, so I'm gonna actually add that in again, but I'll do that after the video so you don't have to watch all of that. But I would just add a row here with the Becca under corrector again. Then we have my lip products, and again it's organized in the same way. Obviously again I don't have any pans in this section, just when they came in and when they were used up or decluttered. And that's basically all of the products. I also have an empties tab here, which is not up to date, but that's, yeah, not something that I'm going to cover in this video. And then let's move on to these 3 right here. So this is my lip, cheek and eye usage. So in here I take in every time I use an item, but I use tracking basically my eyeshadows, blushes, highlighters, bronzers and lips products, because I feel like if I tracked like base products, I use them quite regularly anyway, and I don't have too many of them. These are the ones that are mainly I'm worried about using all of them. So you can see here what I have used so far. I've used 224 of my eyeshadows this year, which is 28.87%. So that's not great, but I am trying really hard to pan a lot of eyeshadows this year, which means that I have to really focus in on those eyeshadows a lot. But I'm gonna try next year to try to use as many of my eyeshadows as possible to get that number higher. But you can see here, for example, like what I have used this year compared to last year and things like that. Next up we have my shop my stash list. This is basically just for randomizations purposes. So in here I add everything in that needs to be added to my shop my stash. So for example with palettes, I add in palettes as 1 item, but then I have everything else further down. Whole collection product pan is exactly the same, although I do add in all of the eyeshadows individually because I do wrote in individual shades rather than palettes like I do in my shop my stash. So that is useful like a randomizations purposes, but that is those 2 spreadsheets. And that is basically how I organize everything in my Excel. It works really well for me, and my favorite thing is my eyeshadow spreadsheet. I usually love this one. I love how I have all the data here and I can see everything. I can see it straight away. You can also see here my product 100 pans. I put that in as well. So my goal is 100. I currently have 21 pans left to hit, and if I do hit my goal currently I will end with 21.91% pan at the end of the year if I do hit my goal of 100 pan, and granted I don't bring anything else in. Again, these are automatically updated, so everything updates when I add something. So for example, let's just add a pan right here so you can see I'm adding a pan, and then this updates, how many pans, new pans this year updates, so everything updates when I add that in. So it's all automatic, which is really helpful, and it's just really nice for me because I love stats and data like this. So that is basically my spreadsheet on my laptop. I'm now going to put my laptop away and I'm going to move on to my phone. So my phone is my best friend when it comes to tracking my panning and everything. I just use my notes app on my phone. It's really easy for me, and it's what I've been using for ages now. So I am just going to start screen recording again, but obviously since the screen isn't that big, I'm just going to put it up next to me so you can see what it looks like. But I am going to start screen recording so we can look at what I have. So here we have my kind of app with all of my YouTube things. I'm not going to fill all my notes, but this is like basically my YouTube part of my notes. And as you can see on overview here, I normally don't have all of these pinned, the top ones. I usually only have my product pan usage and my shop my stash pinned, but since I wanted to like talk about the other tabs, I just pinned them for simplicity's sake today, but this is usually what I do. So the 2 ones that I use the most are my product pan usage and my shop my stash, because that's where I track all my usage on a daily basis. So let's just jump into my product pan one so you can see what that looks like, for example. Also, if you don't want any spoilers for any project, I wouldn't watch this part because I'm going to show my numbers and also some items that I hit goal on and things like that. So if that's something that you don't want to see, maybe skip like the next 2 minutes or so of the video, but I'm gonna jump into that now. So as you can see here, I organized this by kind of projects. So I have my pan of eyeshadows first, pan the palette, and so on. So what I do is I title in every product that I'm working on. So for example, right here you can see I have my Anastasia palette in the shade Pinker, which is a shade that I've now had in for 2 months, which is why there's like a first number, which is 6 plus 1. So in the first month you can see I used it 6 times, the second month I've used it 1 time so far. So that's basically how I track my usage. That's how I know how many times I use it in total, but also how many times I've used it that specific month. So that is where, like, how I organize my items. And if you scroll down, you can see, for example, my Panda palette, which I've been working on all year, and nothing has really rolled out. I have a lot of numbers in a row, but that is each and every single month. So for example, with Venus, you can see that this month I've used it 19 times, and you can also see underneath I added like when I hit pan. And also in this parenthesis, that is, it says 12 uses. That is because when I repressed it, it took me an additional 12 uses to pan after repressing, so that's why I have 2 numbers there. Also you can see here that, for example, Walk of Shame, I had bolded things out, and that's because I frankened the shade and I just want to know when I did. But that's a rare circumstance, so like it's not that I do that all the time, but that's one example. Let's move on to like where you can see kind of, yeah, so here for example in my Partisan Cream, you can see that I have, for the benefit character tint, you can see that I have bolded that out, and that is because I've hit my goal on it. So I had a little, I don't know what that is called, like a slash? No, I don't know what it's called. The sideway line. You can obviously see it in my spreadsheet. I honestly, the word just slipped my mind. I don't know what that's called right now, but I'll add that after the numbers just to know that I have hit my goals. And if I use it any additional times after hitting plan or hitting my goal, I add a number behind that, so I know that I used it additional times after I hit my goal, rather than like that's how many times it took to hit my goal, for example. For this product it's not as important because obviously I finished this product, but for when it comes to pans, for example, from Panda eyeshadows and things like that, it's good to know that if I use something after I hit pan or not. So that's usually how I do it, and that's how I organize everything. You can see like for my whole collection product pan, since I have different goals and everything, I usually put that next to it. So it says pan, here it says 50 uses, 20 uses, and so on. And that's basically how I organize every single project. So down at the bottom you can see, for example, my newest project is my Digipan Mesh Battleship, and down here I'm tracking each use for each eyeshadow, so you can see where I am with everything now. But yeah, that's basically how I organize, and that's how I keep track on all of the eyeshadows that I'm panning, as well as all of the items in general, and how I track my usage. So if we move back, we can move to my Shop My Stash, because this is very similar. Here I just track usage. Obviously I don't have any goals, so I just put the usage behind, and then I have each and every month here that I've done my Shop My Stash. I probably will update it because I've been doing it for over a year now, so this list is very long, but basically it's very similar. I just keep my usage in here, but it's not as complicated as my product pan notes. The other ones I wanted to show you was my 2021 YouTube planning tab, and this is this one right here. In here this is basically like when I was planning out my project end of last year. I added in what projects I wanted to do at the top, and then also all the products that I wanted to finish, and I do have a video on that, so I've been tracking that as well, and that's why I have this is a separate kind of spreadsheet, and in here you can see I take things off of when I use them up. If I do declutter something, I strike through them, so I know that it's decluttered rather than completely finished up. But you can see right here, that's how I track my overall kind of planning for the year. The next one I wanted to show you was my product 100 pans, because this is how I keep track on all of the pans I've hit this year. And I basically just go in and each month I add in what I've hit pan on, and then the amount of usage and what product I hit that pan in. For example, in the first one you can see here is Tempera from Anastasia Soft Glam. There's a question mark behind it because it was an item that I hit pan on outside of a project, so I don't know how many uses it took, and also it wasn't in a project, but otherwise I always add that behind it. So that's how I keep track on all of them, and the list is getting very long now. I'm not too far away from 100 pans, but I still have quite a way to go. So that is how I did that one, and that's basically the ones that I wanted to show you. I have other tabs. Obviously I have my videos to film, so in here I have all the videos that I need to film and for what date this should go up, so I can keep track on that. I have like my 21 and 2021 where I keep track on everything that I used up, because in this project I do want to hit 21 items used up, so I'm tracking that as well. And then I have quite a few other like video ideas, things like that, just to help me out. So that is how I organize everything on my notes app. And I think that is it for today's video, guys. It was a bit different, like I said, but I just thought I would give you an insight into how I organize everything, and maybe if you're doing planning yourself, it would give you some ideas on how to track things. But yeah, I'm not gonna ramble on any further. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and otherwise I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.